Hello everybody and welcome back to Talk of the Town. My name is Brian Kelley and we have a special show for you today. We're going to be talking about the Trees of Hope. So stay tuned and get ready for an awesome show. We have it's going to kick off with me talking with a special guest, Teresa Stafford from Hope Ave, and then we'll have Steve Block from Thayer Nursery on the show, followed by Eileen Ma, the awesome premier movie reviewer of Milton. So stay tuned and I hope you enjoy the show.
Teresa was the inspiration behind Talk of the Town. Do you remember that, Teresa?
I remember maybe a little bit.
Now she's forgetting. No, she encouraged me. We were it had to do with the schools, remember?
That's right.
We were concerned about the schools and funding and everything, and so we were talking about having a coffee talk. We're going to call it Coffee Talk, and it ended up being Talk of the Town. And as a matter of fact, her father likes to do little drawings, and we used to put that on at the beginning of the show when we first get started. But so Teresa is the inspiration behind Talk of the Town. So if you like the show, you can thank Teresa. If you don't like it, we're sorry. But we're here for another reason today because Teresa was the inspiration behind a project that took place over on Hope Ave, and the Trees of Hope project.
Right.
And so Teresa, tell us a little bit about what happened, and I believe you had some experience with the Pearlcroft. Tell the folks at home. We're talking about trees. We're talking about Beautify in Milton. We're going to have someone on from Thayer Nursery. We have a lot of great things happening today, so stay tuned. Go ahead, Teresa. Tell us about what happened.
Well, basically what happened, Brian, was a couple of years ago, the street tree in front of my house had died, and I had to have the town come out, and they cut it down. And I then submitted a request online for a new tree to be planted. And a couple of years went by, and when the spring came, I called the DPW to check where I was on the list and if they thought I'd be getting a tree that year, because it made such a drastic difference in front of my home once the tree was gone. My house was in the sun like all day long. So when I called the DPW, they told me in the spring that there was almost a 5-year wait for a street tree and that there was no funds at the time this year to buy any more trees. And so basically I went away a little sad and, I'm going to have to wait longer for my tree. And a couple of weeks went by, and driving through town, I drove by Pearlcroft Road, and I saw the DPW planting these beautiful trees. And I said, wow, look at those beautiful trees. I didn't think we had any money for trees. Maybe something has come up, something becomes...
So you didn't call the town angry, did you?
No.
I'll have to check with Walter.
I called them to ask them, hey, what's the story? I just saw trees being planted.
You did it very gently, you said.
Yes, absolutely. Like I always
How come those folks on Hurlcroft got one before me? I've been on that tree list for years. Is that what you said?
No, I was excited to see the trees. So I asked them what the story was, and they said that those trees were due to the generosity of a neighbor in that neighborhood who had donated those trees for the town to plant. And that was kind of like a light bulb moment. I thought, wow, that's awesome. Somebody just donated trees to the town. Maybe we could do something like that on Hope Avenue. We have many trees that are missing, that have been lost. Some are diseased and are dying now. Maybe this is something we could do. So I thought, geez, how could we fund something like this? So once again, I'm sitting in front of my house on a Monday, waiting for the trash collection trucks to come by because my 5-year-old...
You want to see Teresa, she's usually sitting in front of her house.
I'm the person always sitting out on Hope Ave. But my son loves to wait for the garbage trucks, like any 5-year-old boy loves the garbage trucks. So I'm sitting there, and the guy always beeps and makes a big deal of us, and I'm looking at the waste management truck, and it says, Think Green, and that got me thinking, wow, Think Green, waste management. So I basically went on their website just quickly and looked and I saw that waste management has a huge commitment to the environment. In fact, one of their mottos is everyday collection to environmental protection. Think green, think waste management. So I thought, maybe I can use this to my advantage. So I spoke to a lot of the neighbors that I know and that see me outside, and I wanted to know what they thought about the tree situation. And a lot of people said, geez, I'd love to get trees. That would be fantastic. But, tell me what we need to do. So after talking to the DPW,
so who did you talk to at the DPW?
I talked to Walter Heller, and I told him what I had seen on Hurlcroft Road and that they had been donated, and he said, yeah, you could definitely do something like that. So we were very lucky with the generosity of Waste Management and another private company and the generosity of the citizens on Hope Ave that donated, that we were able to purchase 12 trees and donate them to the town of Milton. And what we did was we figured call a local company. We called Thayer Nursery in Milton, and we told them our situation. We asked if they could come out and look at our street and kind of give us an idea of what they thought we needed. So they came right out, and Josh Oldfield came out. He looked at the street, and he thought maybe 12 trees was what we needed, and he advised us on what variety of tree we should get because we had no idea. And we took that recommendation, and we raised the money, and we ordered the trees, and we kept in contact with Walter Heller, who was great in advising us. And the trees were just delivered, and the DPW came out. They were fantastic. They planted the trees. They even reseeded a lot of our tree lawns that had been eroded away.
Because there were no trees there. Because the
yeah.
cars would park on it.
Exactly. And they planted them, and it's made an unbelievable difference in Hope Avenue. And we're just so happy that we were able to, as a neighborhood, donate these trees to the town to be planted on Hope Ave. We think it's great that we were able to do that, and we just want to thank Waste Management and Thayer Nursery and the neighbors that stepped up to the plate to make this all happen. It was really great. It was a lot simpler than I thought it was going to be, and wow, what a difference. Drive down Hope Ave. We've been missing trees, a lot of them for 18 years, and now there's 12 brand new trees, and we're really, really happy about it. In fact, all the little kids in the neighborhood, we have over 30, more than 30 really, kids under the age of 16 between Hope Ave, Cedar Terrace, and Pine Grove. All the kids were so excited because they're always learning this stuff in school. Some of them have named their tree, and they're helping water the tree. So it's been great. It's been great. It was a really good experience.
Well, you mentioned the children involved, and I talked to. Do you know that Milton has a tree warden?
I saw something on the website. I never had heard of that we have a tree warden, but it does say something.
We have a tree warden,
yes.
And I have a note. I called him today because I just found out just before we filmed the show,
yeah.
And I talked to him. His name is Branch Lane. So some of you, he's been involved in the town politics in the past and everything. So
yeah.
He's retired now, but he still is the tree warden. And so and what a name for a tree warden!
I know.
Branch Lane. Eileen, the camera Billy's going Branch Lane.
Did he change
I just got it.
Did he change it?
Well, I talked to Branch. He's a nice man. And as a matter of fact, if you have questions for Branch and or want some ideas from him, he can always help. And you can just send a note to him, care of the DPW yard at 629 Randolph Ave. And so I talked to Branch. He talked about the children. Matter of fact, right now over at Cunningham and Collycott, they have a little nursery.
Tree farm. I saw it.
Yeah, a little nursery. And if you're facing the school, Cunningham's on the left. And the little tree farm is to the left of the little road, I believe, is what he was telling me.
Yeah.
And he said that they planted small trees there. The children got involved, the younger grades, and they helped dig the holes and then plant the tree and fill it in. And they're excited about that. And now they did some last spring. They're going to do some again soon, so that they have different maturing dates on these trees. And they'll start removing the trees as they get older, and they'll be donated to the town and be planted around the town. So it's kind of a little mini nurseries, and because it's been received well, that PTO helped fund some of the trees, I believe. Mm-hmm. He said that they might expand it over to Glover and perhaps Tucker, although Tucker might be a little challenging because there's not much space over there that they could do it, but they're going to look, they want to try to get all the children involved in the town. So that's what he talked about. He also talked about, I'm going to mention Thayer Nursery. I'm going to have a representative from Thayer Nursery, Steve Block, who's a certified horticulturist, is going to come on in a minute and talk to us about the trees that we planted here on Hope Ave and on Hurlcroft and the reason for the variety that was picked and things like that. So you can maybe get a piece of paper and a pen. You can take some notes when Steve is on. But he also mentioned, besides Thayer Nursery, who's been great to the town, he said Bunny Thomas over at Thomas Nursery has been good at providing deeply discounted trees to the town. So keep them in mind also if you decide to get involved in a project like this. Branch also mentioned that some of the funding for trees, if you get organized, because of this, we're starting a little neighborhood association, the Hope Ave Neighborhood Association, otherwise known as...
Hope Ave Green Team?
No. What's the nickname?
Hannah.
Okay. So we're talking about that. So it's really bringing the people together in the community, and it's fun. But he said there is some money that comes from the federal government. The federal Chapter 90 road rebuilding funds also provide some for trees. He also said that the DCR, the state through the DCR, has a program where they collect funds from the utility companies, and then there's like a matching program. So if the town provides they don't have to match necessarily with a tree, but a town can match with labor. So if the town provides labor to install the tree, say $100 worth of labor, then they'll provide a $100 tree. So, but that's only available to nonprofits and municipalities. But really, you can participate because these trees are going to the municipality. So if you have a neighborhood association, I think he mentioned Hillside. There's a writer for the Globe, I think, in the garden section. Hold on, Steve, do you know her name by chance? Steve doesn't know, but he knows about trees. He doesn't know about people. He's a tree guy. But anyways, I guess on Hillside, I think they did something with trees, and they use this program. So if you have a neighborhood association, of course, it's going to be easier. The problem is that they're not always available. Funds are stressed everywhere, even on the state level. But and it takes time and it takes paperwork. We kind of cut to the chase. Teresa picked up the ball, contacted Waste Management. They were very helpful in helping fund some of the trees over here in Hope Ave. And we even contacted another company that gave us some money. So we've been fortunate in that sense. So you might try the same in your neighborhood.
Right.
I know someone came by and said something to you. Someone was driving on Hope Ave? And
it's a big cut-through street to Squantum Street, and the same people...
Don't be telling people that. Don't.
The same people drive through all the time. And a lot of people have stopped and said things to us that, wow, the street looks great. And, we've had a lot of traffic problems on our street, and the town has done traffic studies on Hope Avenue. And one of the things that we learned were the trees are a calming measure to motorists as they transition from Granite Avenue onto Hope Ave. When they see trees, they know that they're now entering a neighborhood, and it does calm the traffic. It's a calming measure. So we're hoping that'll be the case. And we're really excited about that. But I'm just happy that Milton has such a huge commitment, really, to the street trees. That's one of the things I think that I noticed first when I moved here 18 years ago was the tree-lined streets. They were beautiful. And every year you see the town replenishing the trees and taking care of the trees. And it's just great because it makes a big difference, in the appearance of the town and environmentally. We all know how good trees are for the environment. So, it's great. It's a great thing.
Well, we live near the expressway, and obviously there's a lot of toxins being generated from the traffic on the expressway, and so the trees help create oxygen and things like that. So
they cut down on noise pollution. It's a proven fact. They cut down on noise pollution, and they'll lower the temperature around your home, and all the things that our kids come home and tell us that they learned in school. It's true.
Right. And with the tree lawns being rehabilitated, that's also going to help with drainage. Put less poison going into the stormwater system.
With the runoff and the erosion.
Boy, we're changing the world. Man, Al Gore would be proud of you, Teresa. Well, Teresa, you made a difference over here in Hope Ave. I hope that some other neighborhoods in the town pick up the ball on this.
Yep, it's not that bad. Don't be afraid.
Don't be afraid. Now, not everyone's going to agree. We did talk to neighbors first, and if they didn't want a tree in front of their home, we did not put a tree in front of their home. We tried to be accommodating, but you're not going to keep everybody happy, unfortunately. But it's worth the effort. I think you'll find in the long run it's going to be beautiful. It was Dr. Joe Burke over on Hurlcroft that got the ball rolling there. I tried to contact him. He travels a bit. I guess he's retired. But he made the difference over there. I drove over Hurlcroft today, and the trees they have there are a little more mature than ours, and they came out really nice. So Teresa, thank you again for being on the show. And I'm going to have Steve come over from Thayer Nursery and tell us a little bit about the trees and the variety and some things that can help some of the folks at home. Steve, Brian Kelley.
Brian, nice to see you.
This is Steve Block with Thayer Nursery. I called Thayer Nursery. I said, hey, you want to send someone over? I gave him about 20 minutes notice that we were having the show. So Steve came right over. Steve tells me he studied television and radio in college. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And now you're dealing with trees.
I have been for 33 years.
You remember the song, I Talk to the Trees? I think it was the Smothers Brothers. You remember that?
I remember the Smothers Brothers.
They sang, I Talk to the Trees. And they never listen to me. What do you think, Steve? So tell us about...
I agree.
Over here on Hope Ave, we put some trees in. And what kind of variety did we select for Hope Ave?
We selected the Cleveland Select cultivar from the original Bradford pear that might be a familiar name for those of you that are somewhat interested.
It's a Cleveland what?
It's a Cleveland Select.
Yeah, but then
it's a cultivar.
A cultivar.
It's an improvement. It's an improved variety from the original Bradford pear.
Okay, and what's improved about it?
Well, it is more tolerant to urban environments, which means it's less bothered by smog and pollution. It grows a little more compact branching, which serves its purpose of being a street tree in that it doesn't overrun the street. It grows up more in a vase shape, in a V shape.
So a little less intrusive to the utility lines and things like that?
Versus a wider shape that would be problematic as the tree grows to maintain the overhead space necessary on the roadway.
Gotcha.
It doesn't form as much fruit, therefore is not as much of a nuisance. The fruit that it does develop, very desirable for certain species of native wildlife, birds. So they'll come in the fall when the fruit sets and they'll take the fruit away, so you won't have to worry about...
It's like a self-cleaning oven.
Sort of. You won't have to worry about any of that debris accumulating on the ground.
Or your car.
Yeah, or on your car. It's just a great selection for a street tree. It is, in New England, it's probably the street tree of choice.
The only challenge I see with having the same trees on the street is if a disease does come that happens to ravage
Well,
them.
but that's one of the reasons we chose the particular cultivar, Cleveland Select, because it's literally a foolproof tree. So there's very little worry that anything known to man is going to come and attack it and take it down. So it's a great choice.
Well, excellent. Well, we're excited about it and excited to see what the street looks like in 10 years. So tell us some more about tree varieties in town and anything you want to share with the people at home. Again, I'm talking with Steve Block from Thayer Nursery. Steve came over here to help us out on the show today because we're talking about the Trees of Hope and the trees over in Hurlcroft and some of the other neighborhoods. I also want to mention, Steve, that a couple of years ago, I believe the Congregational Church got involved. The East Congregational Church got involved in a program, and they got some grant money for some trees, and those are the trees that you see today planted along Thatcher Street. So you see the beautiful variety of trees on that. What kind of trees did they plant over on Thatcher? Were you involved with that at all?
I wasn't. I was at another location at that time.
Okay, so they done some work raising money and planting trees in the town.
I think Teresa mentioned something that's very important. She felt a loss when the tree in front of her house came down. Not only did it create some privacy, but she mentioned that it created some benefit during the hot weather months of the summer, in that trees create shade when the leaves are out, and properly positioned trees will shade the house and therefore keep the house cooler
in the warm months. And then when the leaves fall off the trees in the winter, when it's colder outside, it'll let the sun come through. So who invented this great thing?
Properly positioned trees provide year-round benefit over and above just the aesthetic nature that the tree brings to a neighborhood. So very important, and most people could save real substantive dollars
on their heating costs,
heating and cooling costs by integrating some appropriate plant material in and around the home.
Man, oh man! Well, Steve, that was just a great. Today people are concerned about money. They're concerned about fuel costs. We're going into an expensive season now because of the price of fuel, and it's time to start planning for the spring. So you might get your wheels going now, get your grant applications in now, form your associations in your neighborhood, and we can make a difference. We can slow traffic in Milton without adding more signs, and that's the bottom line. The bottom line is we want to slow traffic. It's a cut-through town. We plant the trees, we can really make a difference. And so I appreciate you coming on. Teresa, I appreciate you coming on what you did in our neighborhood. I hope others pick up the ball on it. Walter Heller was just fabulous. When he had a supervisor on the job, Patrick his last name, I'll think of it later, but you won't be on later. So, but Patrick was great, and the crews were just unbelievable, just a wonderful job. So we're very pleased, and so I hope you take up the ball on this. Stay tuned, and we'll be right back, and I appreciate you watching Talk of the Town.
Thank you.
You can see Pat Bell from the DPW and one of his co-workers. They're looking at Hope Ave and trying to determine where to put the trees. They've already had DigSafe come out and mark. And the problem on Hope Ave is we have a tremendous amount of underground pipes and things like that. We have old gas pipes. We have current gas pipes. You have the water pipes. You also have MWA has some vent pipes that go along Hope Ave. So it made it difficult to locate the trees. And you can see the tree lawns are very thin where they're looking right now. And so there was quite a few challenges in to try to keep everybody happy with where they wanted the trees located. Down here the tree lawns are a little wider, so which made it a little easier. And so you can see he's going over to talk to Teresa now and to see about locating some of the trees. And she's indicating some of the spots that we had already walked off with Walter Heller and with Josh from their nursery. So it's not an easy thing, but we were able to overcome most of the obstacles. As you can see here, this is the planting of the first tree. We're at the corner of Hope Ave and Granite Ave. He's measuring the depth of the hole. This is Kathy Joyce. She's one of our neighbors from Antwerp, and she came down to help us. She is an arborist, and she said that if you plant them too low, they will not grow. If you plant them high, they will not die. And you can see she was exposing the top of the roots so that they can get the oxygen. And there's Pat Balf from the town. He's in the green shirt there, and he directed the crews, and he did an excellent job. And he worked with us and helped find the spots for the trees and everything. So it was a great day all in all. As you can see here, the trees are already making a difference. When you pull in off of Granite Ave, you can see the tree on the right there. So we have two near the front entrance to the road. There's one right to my left there. Now we're further down in front of Teresa's house again. You can see they're digging the hole for her first tree.
Teresa, what do you think of the tree planting today?
I just think it's gone so smoothly. I don't know why we didn't do it a long time ago, and I think we should try some other capital improvements for us today, because people really appreciate our efforts.
Here you can see they're installing the trees in front of Teresa Stafford's home, and she was fortunate we were able to get 2 trees in front of her home and to replace some of the other ones that had died over the years, and what inspired her to move forward with this project. as Teresa's staff had mentioned earlier, Waste Management was integral in helping us raise the funds we needed to pay for the trees on Hope Ave. And with their contribution, we were able to reduce the burden to the other individual homeowners that came up with some money for the trees. So we appreciate what they did for us and helped us to think green. And you can see here's our garbage man on Hope Ave, Rigo. And so we filmed him, and he's just doing his job, and we appreciate what the company he represents did for us. Some of the folks on Hope Ave that helped make this project a reality.
What do you think of the new trees?